Okay, I got this little sort of flies on them. Apologies. Can you see me? There's a little sort of cushiony thing, and it's nice. It's good. Good. Lets me sit it on the chair long. I'm not sure how good of a thing that is, but it's a thing. Oh, let me move these things out of the way. You know, it's a functioning studio when you have tools on your desk, and you know it's serious when you have measuring tape. Let's chuck it in here. What else? Okay. Welcome back. Let's break down another cool moment from the mix and see what we can take away from that. When I was looking at this clip, I felt one really important thing come up. Man, I cranked up the light on this bad boy tonight. Holy crap. Oh, sorry. I'm blind myself. When I was watching the clip, I one thing that sort of kept popping up in my mind was wanting to create an experience for the mix. Yeah, taking a musical journey through the mix. Now, I've mentioned that a few times. What is he on about? Yes, musical journey. Well, when I look at unfortunately, some of the older DJ sets. I remember when I watched, this was, oh my god, maybe 10 years ago, when I watched Armin van Buuren play, and he when he played that 1 hour or so set, it took you to a different place, and it was more than just a set. It was an experience. It was a journey. And when it finished, you felt like you could conquer the world, and you felt so just amazing after it. You felt like you had left all the things in the past and just gone somewhere. And as things have progressed, that the genres have changed, and that was a time of progressive house, that vibe, 2012, 2013, things became more intense. Dubstep really started taking over, and other genres came about, and it became very much, and I think even Avicii sort of snarked at this a little bit as well. It became very heavy orientated, heavy drops, heavy, start off super heavy, build up even heavier, and then drop heavy, and then just one big sort of segments of big intense EDM drops. And there've been even I've watched YouTube clips where they just cut everything on the drop sections, and now that became like popular, just those drop sections. And I feel now that craze is sort of finished, but I think that sort of hardstyle's taken over that craze, and it's now basically a sort of 150 BPM orgy for an hour and a half. And after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, Melbourne Bounce, for example, is huge. Not anymore, but And even when, you know, Melbourne bounce is great, but not for an hour, and not for 2 hours, and not for like the whole night. After an hour, it starts numbing my brain at least, and you know, the minimalistic drops just become annoying after a while, because it's the same thing. It's the same tempo. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Very little changes, and it just becomes annoying after a while. And that's how I feel about, you know, super you know, intense sets that are only in one genre. And when you just play hardstyle for an hour and a half, you're trying to sort of, you know, you're forcing it to be, you know, super hard, and you're trying to sort of, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know what the audience needs to be on for it to be that intense. You know, hardstyle is fantastic, and you know, 10-15 minutes of hardstyle is awesome. But you need to have, at least for me, you need to have blends. Now, you know, this isn't to say that, like, you know, you know, don't do the hour and that's it. You know, by all means, you know, but this is just from my perspective. Now, your perspective might be different. You might say, yes, you're full of you know, shit, and it's awesome to have 1 hour hardstyle set. Okay, cool. Yep, no worries. I'm not here to try and, you know, force everyone to, you know, gotta do it this way. Nothing like that. I'm just sort of sharing you my point of view, and what I think contributes to a much better balanced and more exciting set, particularly when we're dealing with taking your audience on a journey. And to take this journey, you need to have peaks and troughs. You need to have, you know, the aggression, and then the softer moments, the tension and the release. You need to have the happy, the sad. You need to have, you know, a plethora of life's journeys in an hour or so. Jeez, why am I always burp so much at this? I feel like it, some like acid reflux or something. So it's not just, you know, drop after drop and just a little bit something in between, just to connect the two songs together and cram in as much as you can. In certain moments that's cool, in certain, like, you know, pockets where you want to have that intensity, but you're gonna have the quieter moments. You're gonna have the blends. You're gonna have, you know, different breakdowns, transitions, melodic moments, just to give people a bit of, you know, space. And then when you have the quieter moments, the more intense moments become, you know, even more intense. You know, metal music is fantastic at this. You know, oh geez, off the top of my head, Anthrax does this really well. System of the Down, a great example of being able to do this. You know, Jet, great example of being able to do that. It hits different because you have that change. You have, you know, and it just amplifies the music, because the heavy moments are like then heavy because you have that contrast. And let me just start recording. So with that in mind, when we are talking about this you know, this contrast, we are taking this journey to create a musical experience for your audience, for the mix. One of the ways we do that is by creating unique moments throughout. So not only do we want, you know, the happy, the sad, we want different genres, we want different tempos, etc. We also want to create, you know, interesting moments that people, you know, perhaps will remember them, and not only that, but then when you are playing, you know, a few sets, you know, for example, on the weekend, you can do something different every time. Every time you do it, it's going to be unique. Oh, I just forgot. My little That's the ear plug. No, you have to switch over. Sometimes it doesn't. It's not on 1%. I know it's not on 1%. Don't give me that. Yes, no, don't give me unsuccessful. Yes, I know you're connected, but you're not really, are you? Yeah. Give me that one. Unsuccessful. Yeah, unsuccessful. How about now? How about now? You were like on full bars the other day. What are you talking about? The other day. Trying to force it. That always works. Kieman. Wonderful. Can I see how much like, can you see how much like thing Meiji pods? Pistol. Yeah. Awesome, that's a great search function right there. We're doing it. We're doing without it. We're doing without it. Cool. Doesn't matter. Turn the sucker up. Let's have a look and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's a repetitive melody, right? So we have the boom, 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 boom. So it changes a little bit, but it's mostly the same, which is cool. And we can say, all right, what are some key things that we can try? So instead of just, I mentioned this in the previous one, instead of just standing there, with your hands up and they're floating on rafts and anyway, you can do something creative so the audience that's watching you can feel connected in some way. So we are playing with the vinyl break. We're adding in some delays. We're just having a bit of fun with it. One of the fantastic things, and you'll see in a second, is when we added delays. We're talking about the stereo image. Okay, so you have the left and right speakers. Okay, and let's just say that they're creating their own stereo image. Okay, so it's not a mono signal. So a mono signal is when you have just one speaker, and for example we have one microphone. Okay, that can't be a stereo recording. If you have one microphone, you sing into that microphone, that's one signal, that's a mono signal. Okay, now if you have two speakers, just to keep things simple, we have the left and right, and we have this aspect called we have this phenomenon called phantom. And basically you have you have this image in front of you between left and right speakers. So you have my speakers here, but then it's a blend of the two in the center, and it's almost like a phenomenon where it's filling up the space on its own, if that makes any sense. Okay, and we call that the sort of phantom sound. Like almost when there's serious operations and people lose a part of their limbs or something, they can feel their toes when they don't have one of the legs or something like that, and you can feel it. It's called like, you know, phantom pain, because it's not there anymore, but I can sense that. And essentially that's what we have here. So we have the two speakers, and they're sort of, you know, just in general terms, they're colliding, and we have this, you know, neutral space in the center that's creating this sort of phantom sound for us, okay? And that's creating this stereo image for us. Now, we can expand that stereo image, okay, super wide, okay? Or we can, you know, monoize. We can make it more center, okay? So we can essentially turn it into, you know, a mono signal. So we have one signal, and we can expand that out into a stereo signal, okay, which is your left and right speakers, okay, and you have this phantom sound in the center. And then we can take that, okay, so we're dealing with, okay, say this is your centralized sort of standard stereo space, okay. Now we can say, why don't we take delays and we can shove them to the left and the right, okay. So then you have this center image here, and then you can have your delays here, and essentially you're widening the mix, and you're pushing your delays out into that stereo space. And one of the great things about the delays that we have available on this setup here is that they're able to really expand out into that stereo space. And particularly with certain songs in the dance sphere, you can then really maximize that space around it because there's nothing there. So that's a great example of what's happening here. So we have a standard image for this tune, but then we're expanding out, we're adding delays, we're adding effects, but they're complementing that space there further. They're not just sticking here, they're on the sides there, and that's almost like in ear candy. So they're pushing out to the sides and expanding the width of our stereo space, and that's something that can be applied to when you are in the you know, engineering side, mixing your productions. That's a great thing that you can do, very common thing that you can do to create some unique sounds in that space around the mix to make things wider, or have the perception of width. And the same can be applied when you have, depending on the setup and the live setting, you have your standard stacks of speakers on the left and right, and then we can push out that space, which I don't feel is being taken advantage of. Okay, so you have some fantastic front of house engineers, and you can take that space there, and then you can expand it out as essentially your own live engineer, because you have the capability on the decks. You're not just, you know, the live band. When you listen to, you know, some cool guitar solos with effects and stuff like that, they can really take advantage of that and create some wild effects and push things out on the speakers. And that just is able to create a unique moment in the mix just by using delays. So now, unfortunately, I've done my best to try and find a way to make these recordings stereoized, but I believe that this is still a mono signal. But in the full mix that you can watch, if you find these moments when we are using these delays, you can find that they do expand out outside of the standard sort of space of where the song is. So you're creating this flutter around the space, and you can hear that in these sort of moments here. cool. You can hear that kind of crackling on the sides, yeah. And in the stereo version of the mix, when I'm just doing the full mix, you can hear those sort of, you know, cracklings of the effect going around the stereo image, and it's fantastic, and that creates, you know, from an engineering perspective, something wonderful that it can be enjoyed, especially if the set or is recorded after. It's recorded during that, and people can listen to that live performance after. Again, you know, taking what we talked about and vibing with the music. It's a great moment. We've put you know, a good amount of work now into it, created this, you know, play with it, and now we can enjoy a little bit of it. It's important. You don't want to just be super serious. Now, we don't get many of these moments when we are mixing, when we are wanting to, you know, create these unique moments. So when we do get them, you know, take advantage of them and use them. Now, sometimes I will try and change which one the effects are using, so which, you know, which channel are the effects on. So we have 4 channels available to us, and we can select then, okay, which effect, where do you want the effects to be on. Generally I just keep them on for everything, but you can change them or even switch them over so you can hear them in your headphones, which I like doing sometimes, so you can hear what's going on in your headphones, and see if, you know, that effect or whatever you're trying to do is going to work, which I think is a great feature, and it's really cool to be able to have that ability to have some of the effects to be able to hear them. Okay, so we're using that noise effect, yeah? We're quickly, you know, creating a little bit of tension. We're using the effects here, adding a little bit of everything. So you notice as we're going through it, adding this, adding that. Adding that great, you know, delay again, or, you know, perhaps it's one of the more creative effects on there that has elements of the delay. Okay, what you're noticing here, the reason I'm using both my hands is we have the ability to adjust the amount that we want as well. We don't usually, I keep it in the middle. Rarely do I have it all the way up for the full amount. Usually I keep it about halfway. The intensity of the effects, that gives me a good sort of variety. If I want something super intense, I'll crank it up all the way. But here we're able to, you know, basically have it off and then adjust and then crank it up and turn it down and crank it up. So that helps to create a bit of a texture, a bit of a different flavor. I will also mention that you're able to keep it permanently on as well. The effects, so you can use you can just use your fingers to touch the pads of the effects, and then create whatever you want. And have to necessarily, you know, have it on and off. It can say, you know, permanently on. Okay, so, you know, again, we're playing with that vocal. We're not just doing randomly. We know, how does it sound if we spend the night? Or, you know, you can do it on the nights. You can do it at, you know, key moments in the vocal. You're not just slamming it on. You're doing it creatively. You're doing it musically. Okay, so again, multiple different effects in use. We're using some of the pad effects. Okay, we're increasing that noise. Now, again, this takes time because we are essentially multitasking. We're building creatively. We're building slowly. Not just slamming it in, so you're doing one thing and letting it, as the bars are going, you're building it up, you're adding those effects in. So it's naturally building. It's naturally the production in it. It's by itself. It is having this build, but we're just adding and making it more intense. Hey baby, what's that sound? Cool. And then we look at the waveform and we know, okay, this is where things cut out. And then we make sure that any tail or the effects, we make sure we stop them. So then we allow things to trickle down. We give that bit of space, and then we can transition into the next piece. So let's look at that whole scenario from the start, and we know that this only happens once. To be able to do the exact same thing we've done here, it's you can get close, but why waste your time? It's just do something different. Do the effect on a different line of the vocal. Try adding, try making the build for the notes shorter. Maybe extend it out. Cut one part, loop one part. Add a different cue point, maybe switch over to another part of the song. There's many different things we can do. So let's have a look and see how, just from this example, we can take the journey and we can create some unique moments in the piece that only happen in that part, and hopefully that it can be a cool moment that people remember. Oh, when he did that effect and it went out, super wide, or when you added that noise, or what song's that? And people listen to that song, it doesn't sound like anything like the way you played it, which I love. I love that when and then people come back to listen to me just because of the way that song was creatively played in that mix, because it has its own vibe. I think that's really cool. So let's have a look. Cool. Let me just stop. Fantastic. You notice how when we finish watching that piece, how we feel, at least I feel quite calm. I feel quite relaxed. We've just been on a mini sort of musical sort of journey. We've watched the tension, the release, the build. You notice how we're using similar effects, and that's what I like to do in key moments. We're not adding a super amount of different effects onto things. We're using some similarities here and there. We're adding the doubles, adding a bit of the crush, adding any delay. Our main effect for this section here is that delay, and that's our sort of that's our sort of rod, that's our sort of anchor. And then we're using different things around that, but we having commonality with that delay. So things aren't super out there. And that way we're able to tease things. And then as we come up to that build, we've already created a bit of the call and answer, a bit of that story. Then we can have that tension, and we can start adding that noise into things, adding multiple things, adding the delay, adding the doubles, adding the paddocks, and we can build and build and build, and then we can release. So again, we're creating this unique moment in the mix. We're taking our listeners on a journey that's only gonna happen right then, that moment, that present moment, until we move on to the next thing. Okay, so yeah, there you go. I hope you get something awesome out of this, as always. I know there's a lot there. I do try to keep it as just straightforward as possible, but with just the ability to expand upon what I've said. So let me just double check. Okay, just want to double check because I know it's been going a little bit longer. Just some key points if you do want to expand out a little more from this and want to do your own research. Stereo image is key. What your mono signal is, what a channel strip is. I think that's really important. Understanding that what we have on the decks is a channel strip. Understanding what that means is really important. Understanding what your phantom sound is, understanding the ability to widen that's stereo image. Now we are getting into more the engineering side of music, but we as the mixers, the DJs, we're in a unique position where we are the sort of engineers as well as the performers of the music, and we have an ability to really manipulate that stereo space that not many artists or singer-songwriters are able to do. And we should take advantage of that ability to expand that stereo space around us, to be able to manipulate the speakers, the sound, in very creative ways. So I would say that those are some key things to look at and expand your sort of base upon what those things are, and that will help you also become a better creative in music, and and just being able to use these effects from a base of knowledge and empowerment over just sort of doing them out of sort of sheer luck. What else? Thinking about creating that experience for your audience is key, and finding creative ways to create that tension and release, and thinking about that mix from a different perspective, looking under the hood of what's possible. I'll catch you on the next one. Enjoy the mix, and I'll see you soon. Alright, bye bye.